The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Bluegrass Community Foundation's 2016 Good Giving Guide Challenge webinar. This is an introductory webinar, not only for those of you that have been part of the challenge in the past, but also for those of you who have never done it before. And this is for everyone because there's so much new stuff. It's basically like starting over. For those of you who are veterans and have done it many times before, of course, it will be similar, but there are changes and we can't wait to share them. But let's talk about what's already happened. So in 2015, just so you know what we did, if you weren't familiar with it, this particular challenge lasted 6 short weeks. Although they may have felt long to some of you, it is a marathon and not a sprint. So that is very likely. Also, it may have felt long, but to me it felt like it happened overnight. Was so busy with it. We had 115 fantastic local nonprofits participating, and we had 4,355 Central and Eastern Kentucky donors, but some of those were even further out as far as Thailand. So we had donors from all over the world even donating to this, and this year our hope is to even have more. Some of those donors, of course, were repeat donors. How great is that? And we ended up raising $1.34 million for all of the fantastic work that you do for your nonprofit and for the community. So a little bit about it. If you didn't know, we've been pretty awesome since 2010. The challenge started out as a pretty simple community partnership between Bluegrass Community Foundation and the wonderful folks at Smiley Pete Publishing. And the idea was to create a challenge that not only had a print guide, that's of course the publishing part of it, but it also had a digital or online or virtual component. So you'll hear me use all of those words, but basically I'm talking about anything you might do online, everything from emails to social media, and the concept is that you're reaching out to the biggest audience you can, which of course is in the world of the good old internet. So we are out reaching out and trying to get as many donors to know about the fantastic work that you do, that we love to highlight here and share with everyone all of the important work that, frankly, the community wouldn't be able to survive without. And we really want them to know about it. And, of course, encourage charitable, fantastic giving for everybody. So we've been around since 2010. In that time, we've raised over $5 million, and that's pretty great, but we can do better. Last year, we went from November 13th to December 31st, and we had 44 states, 6 countries, including Thailand and Belgium and others. People living in Lexington in the 40502 zip code proved the most generous. They did give the largest amount at just $129,876, but Winchester came in, Clark County, there you were in second with the same type of giving. So people from all over love it. But let's talk about what's going on this year. And mainly asking yourself, is the Good Giving Guide Challenge right for your organization? So I mentioned to everybody that this is like taking in your car to the garage. We want to give it the 15-point inspection and make sure that you know if this virtual fundraising event is right for you. Because what we really are doing, we are reaching out to expand your reach. We're doing everything we can. And the main thing with that is looking at how we are online, because this is very much a virtual campaign. So don't worry, if you're not somebody who's very, very savvy with the internet or computers, don't worry. We're going to do a lot of training this year. We're really, really going to buckle down and give way more training than we have in the past, because that was one of the things that we got in one of our multiple feedback sessions. So we really, really want to embrace that. Not only does this kind of training help you with this particular fundraising event, but it can help you with others and also spur some creative thinking about what you might like to do in the future for lots of stuff, because we live in the future. If you think about it, most donors that are just now becoming in a professional space to be able to give back to organizations and causes they care about are young. A lot of them are starting families, getting settled into jobs, and most of those folks have no real memory of life before the internet. And if they do have memory of life before the internet, it's pretty sparse. I'm 43 and I just now have young children, I have a family. I'm also in a space, and I've been in a space for a little while, to be able to give back to my community. But where do I find all of that? I find it on the internet. There's not a lot of people who don't. So the idea would be to learn about what great organizations are out there. The internet is very important. We love donors who will walk right through our doors or attend an event and hand us a check. That's great. Those donors have been there. They love you. They love the work you're doing, and they're going to stay there. They doubt they'll go very far. But how great would it be so that you can survive to excite new donors? And the best way to do that is through the internet. And that's why this campaign works that way. We also have a print component, which is fantastic as well, that can really get you out there. But all of that print component leads you back to an online giving source. So even if we advertise, on a billboard, or we advertise out, with posters or any kind of different types of media, ultimately it brings them back to the internet. So you really have to wrap your mind around that and know that that's where our focus is. So we can't wait to share everything with a great big audience. So let's go into the 15-point checklist to make sure that you have a great campaign. So first of all, do your keys work? That means, do you have the staff to even do this? This year, we are reducing it down to a 5-week campaign starting on November 29th. You have to ask yourself if you have the staff to do this. I know nonprofits very well that have a single-person staff that were very successful in the challenge this past year, and that was based on the fact that they committed the time. So it really doesn't matter whether or not you have the numbers. It's really, do you have the time? Do you have a driver who has the time and the ability to learn and run this challenge, to learn about and run it? So secondly, is your vehicle clean and shiny? Not always something you hear in a 15-point inspection, but hey, I was at a loss for some points. But do you have an updated GoodGiving.net portrait? Now, GoodGiving.net is different than the Good Giving Guide Challenge. There are two separate things. A GoodGiving.net portrait is something you set up with us here at the Bluegrass Community Foundation with the help of the wonderful Barbara Fisher, who is our Director of Nonprofit Services, and it is a free service to you. Once you have that portrait up there, it is open to anyone, any donor can see it. It's also one of the ways that we refer our donors here at the Bluegrass Community Foundation to causes they care about. If we have people who are interested in the arts, we can say, here's all the arts organizations that we have on GoodGiving.net, and GoodGiving.net educates our donors. It also allows you to be transparent to those donors so they understand exactly who you are, what you do, why you're great, and also about your financials and how you are a 501c3. Basically, it's just their insurance policy that you are a nonprofit to trust, that you're very serious about your work and you're doing what you need to do. So she can guide you through that process. Once you have that portrait set up, it is part of our online GoodGiving.net system, and it will stay there for as long as you keep updating it. In the meantime, a Good Giving Guide Challenge person needs to have this set up. They are not used at the same time, but we do require it. Next, do you have social media that's up to date? If you don't know much about social media, in this case, for this campaign, you need to, because that's very, very important to us and to this campaign. You really can't function without it. So we are requiring that you have Facebook. Well, I say requiring. I would say that it is a internal, you need to think about it requirement. You should have at least Facebook. We can't make anyone have Facebook. Maybe your organization just loves Twitter. That's fine. But we would suggest Facebook extremely heavily. But if that's what you need to have at least, if you don't have that, and you have Twitter or you have Instagram, if you have any of those, you have all of them, that's even better, but at least have Facebook. Do you have some fresh pictures or videos that can help tell your story? They're invaluable. You can take pictures with your phone these days, and you can record video with your phone these days. That is just fine to show people the great work you're doing. Or do you have a friend who happens, or a donor, or a board member, or anyone who would be willing to help you and take pictures if that's really not your thing? Do you know that you can get matching gifts? Matching gifts are a huge part of this challenge. It can really excite donors, but it can be very, very simple to do so. If you had a board member or your entire board just came forward and gave $100 and we were just trying to match $100, that's fantastic. If you live in Clark County or Boyle County, our affiliates there at the Clark County Community Foundation or the Boyle County Community Foundation will be setting up match gifts for any organization that participates. There are rules around them, of course, but they're already in place for you. Anyone else, you can have a single person, you can have an organization, you can have a business, all of them can set up a match gift. We will also do training on matching gifts so you can understand it a little bit better. We'll also do training on social media if you're lost there, so we'll have you covered, no worries. You need to make sure that you can do this around that time of year. It is a busy time for everyone, including me. I have kids. We all have lots of things that we're doing, and it's an incredibly busy time. Make sure that you set that time aside to be focused on this challenge and what's going on. We heard sort of a 50-50 feedback on that it's not the best time or it is the best time. I can assure you that all the research does show that this is the highest amount of giving time for any fundraising effort. You just have to make sure you have the time to do it yourself. You need to be ready to equip your staff, your donors, any volunteers, board members, clients, anybody you have to be champions for your organization during this time. That means recruiting them to do anything they can, whether it's word of mouth, social media, email. We're also going to have an ambassador program that we'll have training on that will help. So it's not just you by yourself. If it was just me by myself trying to reach out to as many people as I can, I would have some impact. But if I could have a team around me who's willing to do just even one thing, like send an email or share an email, simple to do, right? Then that would be fantastic. Is your horn working? Could you be ready to do some promotions or events or phone-a-thons, social media campaigns, anything that you can to reach out to new donors? We will be helping you come up with ideas, ways to do it inexpensively and effectively. There's lots of things you can do, and you may not be thinking of all of them, so we're going to work on some training with that. Are you ready to learn about the challenge and be savvy by attending training? We'll get into that training, but training is going to be so important this year, and I'll talk about that just a little bit. That you're ready with your donor stewardship plan. We're going to talk about this as well in our training, how you're going to thank and then cultivate those donors so they come back. Not just the donors you currently have. Your hope is they will automatically give. But what about these new guys? How can you keep them engaged in ways maybe you haven't thought of in the past? The big thing to think about is, are your shocks working? Because this campaign marathon is not a sprint. It's not a day challenge. Those are hard and you really have to go crazy for one day. But can you create a communications plan that will last 4 or 5 weeks? That means you can't ask every single day, give us money. There's got to be more to it, right? So we're going to talk about that too, training. Also, is your air conditioning working? Do you have needs and projects that you could ask donors to contribute to? Not just your operational costs. I know how important that is, but can you suggest to them, we're working on doing this thing. We're working on this one specific thing we really want. We want a playground. We want a sandbox even, if you're working with children. Or let's say we need tons of cat food if you're working with animals and different things like that. Whatever your little specific need is, maybe you can save some of those if it's possible around that time for the challenge to get donors excited. You really can see your organization's goals for the challenge, and you know you have to work to achieve them. I'm going to do everything I possibly can to give you a turnkey operation. After some training and then even during the challenge, I'm even going to give you emails. You just literally have to punch your organization's name into them and you can forward them on to all your donors. but you need to know that you have to do some work to achieve success in this challenge. It just is, we do everything we can to make it easy, but it does take a little bit of time and some work to really, really make an impact. And that you know that do the breaks work. So sometimes I like to say, whoa, 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 hold on. Raising a lot of money is, of course, a goal. Why wouldn't it be? But importantly, for your future and for the future of your organization, getting as many people to know who you are, even if they gave $10, is really important because you want to grow your donor base. Always. It's always, if you look at that as a goal, it kind of changes things a little bit. You'll be surprised at how much effect you can have when you're looking to grab as many donors as possible, and not necessarily big money donors. The more donors you have, we had several organizations that raised so much of their money on just small donations, but they had so many of them, it was amazing, and the impact that they made. All right, last but not least, is your vehicle certified? This means that organizations that are successful with the challenge are active in their campaign before it, during it, and after it. Because after we listened to the feedback, one of the things that we found was that training would have helped, and more training. We did some, but I'm a teacher. I come from a teaching background. I really listened. This past year was my first year with it, and I sort of followed a model that we had in place, which was, I think, working very nicely. However, I heard that, and I really thought, yep, we need that. So we're going to offer a lot of training topics. We're going to be offering boot camps. These are going to be to make as much impact for you and your education about this challenge in the shortest amount of time, so you can get back to the great work you're doing. But some of the training topics we'll be working with is your work plan. We're going to try to look at about 8 weeks out, be able to set up and help guide you through a great work plan that fits you and your organization, not just a cookie cutter thing that would happen for everyone. Some best practices for everyone and also tailored to your size of organization. Fundraising, board and donor engagement, what can you do? Maybe some thoughts you've never thought of before about how that might work and what could really work for you. Social media, marketing, even collaboration with other organizations. This is really common. We did a lot of research into some places that do this all the time, and some larger cities and even cities that are comparable to ours. And sometimes it's not always about the competition, but how you can work together to make a big impact out in the community and have people see you work together. Children's organizations that might work with an animal organization, for example, if you were to have puppies and kids together as an organization and you have an event around this campaign that works together, you might be surprised at how well you both would do in such an event. And endowments, the what, the why, and the how. Something to really understand about this challenge is that all of the money that you raise on the platform, which we will be working with Razoo again this year, all the money you raise on the platform is yours to keep however you wish to use it. However, prizes, monetary prizes, money prizes that come from Bluegrass Community Foundation is going to be in the form of an endowment. And we will be talking about what endowments are, what they do, and how they benefit you. And I'm going to go over that briefly here in just a moment. But it's very important to understand that not all the money that you raise goes into endowments. The money you raise goes to you, however you so choose to use it. But if you were to win a prize in a category and it's from us, it is going to be in the form of an endowment. And I hope that makes sense. I think there might have been some confusion that all the money you raise goes into an endowment. That's incorrect. What is correct is that the prizes that we offer come from there. So that you understand as well, the prizes that are where you get them from us, where does our money come from? Where does that happen? Well, we have donors that want to give money to nonprofits. They usually are sizable donors, and they want to do it in the form of an endowment. Endowments are important to donors for lots of reasons, and that's one of the reasons that these particular, our prize pool, those donors are requesting that that's where that money is going. So we found that to be true for a great deal of our donors, and that is how we raise money as a nonprofit for this particular event. And then lastly, there's also a fee associated with being in the challenge. I'll discuss that in a moment, and I'll discuss where that money goes so you understand that as well. But training, let me just throw something out at you, a little stat, because I thought this was a really important stat. I'm part of a Night Cities organization that does these giving challenges, and we are a peer learning group, so we learn about how each other, how we all do it, and we try to focus in on best practices that fit our community. And Sacramento, which is, of course, in California, and it's a larger city than us, but they had 144 nonprofits participate in their big day of giving. They found that 23% of those 144 nonprofits attended all the training that they offered, every topic. When they found that, those 23% raised double the amount of money that those that did not attend training did. And that's really sizable. So training makes a difference. It pays off. All right, so what's new? Well, we're still working to make 2016 the best it can possibly be. That means some details will come later, but because we're always actively working on the challenge to make it better and better and better, there's things that we can't say that we are going to do because we are trying to get them done. So that's why we have to wait. We might have a donor who comes in at the last minute and offers us to the prize pool a certain amount of money, and if that's the case, I can't really say how many prizes we'll offer right off the bat. I know that we have goals that we would like to reach and for our prize pool, but until we get so far into it, we can't always just nail down right from the beginning, we will only have this many prizes, we will only be able to offer this much money in prizes, because even during the course of the challenge, we will have donors who might step forward, or businesses or organizations that say, hey, we want to participate, we want to offer a prize, and they may do it because the challenge is even going on. It's been brought to their attention. So I heard some feedback that we wish we knew ahead of time how many prizes and what the prizes were going to be, or the challenges, and we do too, but we can't always do that. They often come to us, and or they just don't happen until that time, and we don't want to offer anything, of course, that we don't already have 100% commitment on our end. So that's why sometimes the prizes may come in a little bit late. So here's something brand new. There is a $500 registration fee. So you understand what the fee covers. The fee covers the platform. That means Razoo, the system that we use to do the challenge. A lot of people don't think about it, but if you have money going through an online payment system, you want one that works, you want one that doesn't crash, you want one that is safe for all the donors involved, and you want one that is going to work all the time and not cause problems for any of your donors. We don't want to turn them off because the platform isn't working. Because of that, we use Razoo, and Razoo is a great platform. They do this. This is all they do. It is their focus, and they are extremely competitive in the market of this as far as their fees and things like that. They are also extremely masterful in doing this. They've been doing it for a long time. They do it very well. They do it safely, and they do it, and they have a huge server that does not crash. So that's a big deal. That's what we're paying for if you think about it. Well, you're paying for it. We get it all set up. We're in contract negotiations with them right now to try to make it the best that we can. We also use part of your fee to help print the guide and distribute it. We also use it for trainings, any events that we hold, marketing. That fee covers a lot. And also, I always like to say this, it covers part of my position here. I do this all year long, so I have to, this is how I get paid for the work that I do. So that's where all that money goes. There was, I know that some people feel it's high. I do understand that $500 can be high for many organizations, I just want you to know where the money is going. We don't pocket it and run off with it or something. It's used throughout. We also don't take any fees on your transactions. This is very important to know. Razoo, our platform, takes those fees. They are common credit card processing type fees, and for they also, we have to pay for the platform with them, and then also they of course make their money off of the fees as well, and that's true for any of the groups that we utilize. That is, we've done it with Kimbia, we've done it with different types of platforms in the past. We actually got Razoo to lower their fees last year. We're still in contract negotiations with them this year, but I don't know how far we'll get with that because it's across the board. No, it's just the way it is. If you do any research on it, you'll find that to be accurate because I did. That's what covers it. We do not take a fee. There's confusion sometimes with donors and nonprofits that they think that we're taking part of that processing fee. We don't. We take nothing. All right, so all qualifying nonprofits will be eligible for prizes. That means anyone on the platform can win. And guess what? Any nonprofit who has a GoodGiving.net portrait can participate. There will be no, you have to send in an application and then we process it in a committee and decide who gets to be in the challenge. We're not doing that this year. We are opening it up to everyone. The more the merrier, we feel, and on top of that, if you feel that you can do this and you would like to do this, then please do. We want to help everyone we can, and not only that, you don't have to worry about the big dogs taking over all the smaller nonprofits and winning all the prizes. We have prize categories for small, medium, and large nonprofits. We base that off of your 990 and your size category in that way, much like GuideStar does for pretty much everyone, same thing. And just break you down in that regard. For those of you who would like to know a breakdown of how we look at that 990 and how we break it down, it's just the typical way of doing it. And really, so if there's a lot of small nonprofits and only a few big nonprofits and all that different stuff, we found that ironically it's traditionally very, very even. I don't know why, but it just is. And it's biannual revenue. So there you go. And then who's in the print guide this year? Well, we decided that this year we would step in, look at the top 100 most unique donors from the 2015 challenge will be eligible to be in the print guide this year. That means next year, your fight to be somebody who has a lot of donors, that will get you in the print guide. The print guide is a marketing perk. That means that you're in the print guide and you're out there. It doesn't mean anything else than that. It is a nice extra way of doing it. It also means that if you are not one of the top 100 or you're new to the challenge this year, you're still listed in the print guide. You just don't have a picture and a little story, but you're still listed in it. And just sort of keep that in mind when you're looking at it. You want to get in that print guide. It's great to be in it, but anyone can win the prizes. Those of you that are in the print guide, it used to be that the print guide folks were the only ones eligible for prizes. That's not true. This year, anyone, if you raise money or you get a lot of donors or any other way of looking at winning a prize, you will still win a prize. There's going to be a lot of challenges scheduled, or at least more than last year. That's because we're working to finalize that, but we may be looking at goods and services as some of the prizes. Why not get some office supplies? It does contribute to your bottom line, and so that could be a challenge. We're actively working on seeking some cool small challenges like that so you can have some ways to excite your donors and also benefit you. That's that. All right, so what is a nonprofit endowment at the Community Foundation? Well, it is a charitable investment account. So basically, you have a certain amount of money which is invested on your behalf. We protect that money. It is invested for long-term growth. The idea behind it is it's to help you stick around in perpetuity for as long as possible. It's also incredibly attractive to your donors. They love the idea that you would have an endowment, that money is going somewhere, it's going to stay somewhere, and it's going to help you stay alive. It's a great way to get people excited about your organization, also based on the fact that they can get tax credit for giving to an endowment, which is something called Endow Kentucky tax credit. If they donate a certain amount, it will give them a break on their taxes. This is really great for some of your bigger donors as well. You also get an annual spendable portion that is can be utilized for grants for your organization, for yourself, to have you do all the great work that you're doing. And it also just ensures generations of giving and support. I like to mention there was an organization here in Lexington that was about 100 years old, and it ended up closing its doors. It just ran out of money in the lean times and ended up closing its doors after 100 years. If it had had an endowment, that wouldn't have happened. And that's just, imagine if somebody, even for 20 years or 30 years, they had gotten their board members to donate $100 apiece for all of that time, every year, into that endowment. They would have had a sizable endowment by the time this crisis came about, and most likely would have survived. So a lot of people love a community foundation fund for lots of reasons. There are so many things there. That means that you don't have to do anything with an endowment. We have lawyers and accountants on our staff who take care of. We're basically like your office staff for your endowment. There's marketing involved, and we continue to promote that endowment for as long as we possibly, as long as this community foundation lives, and we are the oldest in Kentucky, so I assume and hope that we will also be sticking around for a great deal of time. And we do investment oversight, we investment management oversight. We're checking in with you, and we can also come to your board and discuss this with them. We have, again, lawyers on staff who will go to your board and talk to them about how it all works too. So every organization with an endowment has a chance to win additional dollars for their endowment. So if you have an endowment here, you get that if you win more, you can add more money to it, because more money means a bigger payout. It means survival in the leanest of times. And every organization without an endowment has a chance to win one and build upon it. So that's the main thing to be thinking about. Important dates: May 6th. All nonprofits interested in participating in the Good Giving Challenge must have an updated goodgiving.net portrait. If you don't have a portrait, don't worry. You just need to contact Barbara Fisher. She's the number right there on your screen at bfisher@bgcf.org, or you can get her at 859-721-2344. On June 15th, we will have platform registration. No need to send in paper applications this year. We will be doing it all online, and that will start June 15th and close on June 30th. By August 1st, your $500 fee will be due here at our office. It can be mailed in, dropped off, doesn't matter. That's just, you can just get it to us and you'll be in there, because August 5th, we will announce all the nonprofits who have successfully registered and paid your fee. We will do a big press release and announcement about that and start beginning our media campaign. August, September, October, we will be doing our boot camp trainings. I don't have specific dates for those yet because I have to line up venues, and I also am going to try to move around so that it's not always right in the heart of Lexington. If I can get closer to some of the other counties a little bit, I will do so, or may have more than one. I'm still working on that schedule. And then November 29th through December 31st will be the Good Giving Guide Challenge, and we can't wait to share with everyone all the fantastic work that you do. Thank you for all you do. If you have any questions or anything like that, I've got the answers most likely, or I can get you to somebody who does, and you can contact me at Lori Preston, lori@bgcf.org, or you can call my line, which is 721-2340. I hope you guys have a great afternoon, and I cannot wait to have this start with you. It's going to be a great year. If you have any questions, please let me know. Thank you so much.